we're not in the arena of just calling people by their nicknames when we don't personally know them. I feel like it's a little unprofessional. So do we go with PB, which you're known as on television?
Yeah.
Or do we go with Coach Spurrier and we call you Bernsey?
You know what? I've been called either one, and coach, the head ball coach, has called me Bernsey before. So either one. I've been called a whole lot worse, to say the least. As long as my Venmo transactions are not listed as private or public right now, I think you can call me whatever the hell you want. We're in good shape.
After a round of golf, a lot of stuff starts flying, you know.
By the way, that's fascinating. The whole John Mateer situation at the Oklahoma quarterback and like the Venmo transactions.
Dude.
It's so hilarious that this is a thing in 2025. And yet what's even worse is that I just got done doing my show with Chris Doring on Sirius XM, and we went through our own personal Venmo, and it's troubling to see how many of my friends actually have public like transactions on Venmo. Like, who you do? Who does this? Who wants their public transactions known or make them public? It makes no sense.
Dude, that's a great point. Actually, you could do a whole segment on that because I've seen some weird things too, you know, like that I don't need to see. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's inside jokes, but I mean, like, for him to say sports gambling was just such a weird deal. Like, it just, again, nothing surprises me, I guess, in the world of college football in 2025 any longer.
While we're on that, not to derail all of this, because obviously we want to talk football, but maybe I'm going to offend somebody by saying what I'm going to say, and I don't mean it that way at all. But you're right. When you pull up Venmo and you see these public transactions of people that you know that you're friends with, always find it strange when there's a spouse that is Venmoing the other one for something like dinner. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen, in fact, one of my producers, in fact, it's funny you just said that. I saw it. One of my producers, his daughter Venmo'd him about Legos. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what? Like, and I cannot believe here on August the 13th, on one of the most incredible college football seasons we have, I'm talking about Lego transactions and sports gambling Venmo. But this is part of the ADD-ness of college football this time of year that I guess I love and hate.
You're right, man. All right, we'll lead off with the Gamecocks. We'll get to the rest of the league, then we'll get you out of here. We know you got a lot of stuff to do. Thank you for your time. Really, really happy to. Mike Morgan's pretty pissed at me because we're doing this on a day that he's not on the air, but that's okay. I'll deal with Mike tomorrow. Expectations, Gamecocks 2025. What are yours?
There are what my expectations are and what I want them to be. What I want them to be is that there's no backslide whatsoever, that you're on the cusp of a college football playoff team. And can you be that this year? And so that's what I want them to be. I want this to be the new normal of what South Carolina football is like, hey, things go right, you're a college football playoff team. If not, you're right on the outside looking in, that there's not this like, hey, we just really struggled and we went to 6-6. Now, that's what I want the expectations to be. What I think they are, I have a hard time looking at it. And as much as I love Clayton White, the defensive coordinator, who I think is going to be a head coach one day, like he's as sharp as anybody. I mean, I think they did a great job working the transfer portal last year and finding the right guys, not like the headline guys, but the right guys to fit what South Carolina needed as a program. I sit there and wonder, I'm like, man, it was like 41 sacks. It was a top 4 defense in this conference, one of the most ferocious front sevens. How in the hell do you lose like your 32 leading tacklers? I mean, I'm being facetious, but it felt like that way last year and still have that success. So if I look at record wise and sit there and go, all right, if you told me right now as a South Carolina fan, I could give you 8-4. Would you take the deal? I, from the outside looking in, would go, I would take 8-4 if I knew I'd get Lenoris back for one more year after this, and I could build upon this 8-4, which was, hey, this is the foundation of college or football in Columbia. Now, all next year, we're all in for a national championship or a college football playoff run.
All right, let me ask you this. In your opinion, does a 9-3 SEC team this year get into the playoff?
So It's a great question because we've been going back and forth about college football playoff expansion and whatnot, and that's one of the questions on 9-3 last year didn't get in. It's impossible to tell, and I know I don't mean to be a cop out answer because it all has to do with what did Illinois do? What did Indiana? Is there an SMU squad that comes out of the ACC once again? Is there a Big 12 team that surprises everybody? And so I think it's almost impossible to tell. Now, I do think if there's a situation where, let's take LSU, for example, they're opening up against, in the fake Death Valley against the Clemson Tigers, right? Let's say LSU beats their ass by 3 touchdowns, okay? And right off the jump. But then Clemson runs mostly the table outside of losing to South Carolina, which we love when that happens next year or at the end of the year. And they're 10-2 and they win the ACC championship. But LSU ends up going 9-3, but they have a win against Clemson. Would that be good enough? Possibly. But frankly, like Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, a couple of weeks ago just said, man, I could see a 8-4 team be in consideration for the college football playoff. Like, that's a bridge too far. Like, there's no way in hell I would ever, I don't care if it's SEC school. I would never, you lose 4 games, you don't deserve to play for a national championship.
Yeah. Not at 12. At 16, there's probably going to be one at some
16,
point.
I could potentially see, but even that feels, that's another reason why I'm happy that we're probably going to stay with 12 for at least a third year. Like, this is the second year of a 12-team playoff. Yeah. I think now, because the Big Ten and the SEC are not getting along as far as what the new field's going to look like, I think we'll have a third year of a 12-team playoff. And I think by the time we look at it, now that we've fixed the seeding, I like a 12-team playoff. I want it to feel like a privileged group that earned the right versus, well, we got to find 16 teams to put in there.
Mm-hmm. The reason I asked you that question is because, the general feel in South Carolina, y'all probably feel it when on the SEC network is, look, now my job every day is to go much deeper than Lenore Sellers and Dylan Stewart, clearly. Right. Okay. So we've got a pretty good feel of who they are. But at the same time, when you roll out a potential Heisman Trophy candidate, potential top 5 draft pick at quarterback, that's never happened at South Carolina. It's the greatest era of Gamecock quarterbacks ever, with Rattler starting in the NFL. Yep. and what Sellers is doing. And then you got a guy who's being compared to another guy that happened to play over a decade ago in Columbia. We'll see if that comparison rings true or not. But those are 2 superstars, potential first team, second team All-American, third team All-American type dudes. You can make an argument that defensive end, quarterback, maybe there's not a better offensive defensive duo in this league than those 2 guys.
Right.
So if South Carolina goes out and doesn't win 9 games or more to be in contention to be a college football playoff contender or be in the college football playoff, there are a lot of Gamecock fans and maybe a lot of folks nationally who would look at this season in some way, shape, or form as a letdown or as a failure.
Well, I'll speak to it from a guy that's born and raised in Baton Rouge and followed that program closely since I've been born. Right. Think about LSU when they had Jaden Daniels. It was arguably as good as an explosive offense as they had back when Joe Burrow was in 2019, but defensively they were atrocious. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of people thought that was a wasted year for Brian Kelly, because you're like, wait a minute, Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman, but you're nowhere even close to sniffing the college football playoff. So I think that's why I thought Beamer was great and transparent, going, listen, we're ranked 13th. I think it's awesome because we have a returning quarterback, but I think he also understands that I don't think he believes right now that they're a top 13 ranked team. And I think that's part of what works for Shane, is almost like the chip on the shoulder of like, why not us, right? And they came out off the radar last year. Nobody was. We weren't talking about the Gamecocks last year, hardly at all. And you have this season, so I think he has been very open and transparent about how much they missed or how much they've lost there in Columbia. But as long as you got Lenore Sellers, you have a chance. And I can guarantee you, there's 115 schools in D1 right now that wishes they had something close to Lenore Sellers at QB1.
Is the quarterback matchup of the season in your mind? We haven't gotten there yet. It's August 13th, But is the most anticipated quarterback matchup of the year happening in Baton Rouge between Nussmeier and Sellers again?
Yeah, I mean October the 11th. I mean, and let's be honest, I've said this several times, is the fact that I mean South Carolina got jobbed last year. I mean that was a South Carolina victory that was snatched away from the Gamecocks last year with some interesting calls. So there's going to be a lot on the table for that game. But between Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers, the amount of probably draft personnel that's going to be there is going to be off the charts right now. And I'm looking forward to it. Now, I think the difference is LSU's defense is significantly better this season. Blake Baker, year 2. I mean, the best thing that happened to LSU was that they lost out on the Bryce Underwood kid, and so they were able to take a bunch of their NIL money and put it into really a secondary right now. And that's kind of one of the question marks that I have for South Carolina too. Is who are going to be those game-changing wide receivers, and really, and then on the front end as well as, or actually on the front on the linebackers. It's like wide receiver / linebacker are probably the two position groups that I have the biggest question mark on, and that's why I'm throwing it to you, because I'm trying to learn more about the depth of this team, because I do have some concerns there.
Yeah, I mean, at the linebacking, at the linebacker position, obviously, so they bring in Sean Murphy, the kid who transferred in from Florida State, and Justin Okoronkwo, who Saban recruited to Alabama. Sean Murphy is going to be a player. They like him. He's had a great camp, and Fred Johnson is kind of next in line. They all look the same, by the way, PB. Yeah. They're all 6'4", they're all 240, and they all fly around. But they got to go play football. We haven't seen them play football yet. It's very understandable for anybody to question that. And the wide receiver position, the one thing that I'll say with that, and then move on, is I want to maximize time here, but the one thing I'll say with them, Mike Fury had a chance during the portal period to go out and sign portal guys. He said no. He told Shane Beamer, I'm good. I like the freshmen. Yeah, I like these guys, and I like my older guys. I like where we are. We'll get there. That told me a lot. Does that mean they're going to be a bunch of superstars? No, it doesn't. But is this guy confident? The wide receivers coach, who's pretty good, I'll buy in. You know what I mean? I'm not buying into the point where they're going to be what LSU had a few years ago. Yeah. We got to see that. But are they going to be better than advertised? I think I'll buy that.
Well, when your job is on the line based on your group, and you're saying, hey, listen, I can give you a couple of dollars if you know to go fishing for something new to bolster that group, and you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, that means you're pretty damn confident. And I like to hear that. And real quick, because I want to spin it forward about the idea of one of the things I think why Shane works so well in this world of college football now, and he told me this years ago, back when he was at Oklahoma and then over at Georgia as well too, was that he's found a way to make it like a family environment over in Columbia. And I think that's why you have a lot of former head coaches like Jeff Collins that are there, Shula that's there, guys that want to be a part of that program, that they know there's a good work-life balance. And I think that what Shane has been brilliant at adapting to college football is saying, I might grab a 5-star like Ohio State or Alabama, right at the top of the tier 1 rankings, but I can grab a 4-star or 3-star and surround him in an environment about learning, about the fan base is great, the facilities are awesome, and really good coaching staff, and get them to play like a 5-star. And I think that's why he cuts through right now, whereas a lot of coaches are struggling to do it.
You're exactly right. 24 years, including Shane's, 24 years of collegiate head coaching experience on this staff. Awesome. And then when you include Chip Morton, and of course, Joe D was here last year, but when you include Chip Morton and Luke Day and what they did from a strength standpoint in the NFL, 112 years of experience in the NFL on the staff. It's
because guys want to be there. I mean, think about how many guys wanted to go coach under Saban to have it on their resume, but then they just got burnt out. And the idea of guys that are energized to be around college football, they have a depth of knowledge that can help. And that Shane's enough where he's not an egotistical maniac where he's like, it has to be my way or the highway. Like, hey, come on in, help us out. Like, we're all in this for Gamecock fans. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear from my head coach.
And Shane is as much a fan as about anybody. Are you okay for 2 or 3 minutes, or do you?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. No, I'm good.
I want to get around the SEC real quick on a couple of things. Quarterback in the league not getting enough attention.
Austin Simmons is really intriguing to me over at Ole Miss. Now, I think Ole Miss takes a step back because defensively, like South Carolina, they lose so much. So I don't know if they're as good. But Austin Simmons, I think, has more top level um, of a ceiling than maybe Jackson Dart did. I think he could be that good. He reminds me of Tua Tagovailoa to a certain extent. And so, you know, it's kind of like the Arch Manning Quinn Ewers situation where I think Austin is probably more talented than Jackson Dart. It's just Dart last year already had, so many snaps that you were going to go with him. So I'm kind of curious to see how Austin Simmons develops this season.
Anybody that plays for Lane Kiffin at that position, it's easy to believe in him. I'll throw Taylon Green at you. I know he's had some fumble issues. Year 2 quarterbacks under Bobby Petrino, pretty good.
Yeah, if he stays healthy. I mean, you go back and look at it. And I forgot, man, I interviewed him over at Media Days. Like 6'6", but I mean, he's not Cam Newton big type guy, but my goodness, the guy was. I mean, he looked like he could play for Coach Cal's basketball squad over there in Fayetteville as well.
Coach, you never know. I mean, however many Coach Cal wants to bring in every year. All right, most underrated SEC opener game. That game.
As far as conference game or for an opener for
opening weekend. Yeah.
Opening weekend. I'm looking at it right now. I'll be honest with you. It's not Texas, Ohio State. It's not LSU, Clemson, but the Tennessee-Syracuse game is really interesting to me because of what happened with the quarterback situation, right? With Nico going out there and wanting a whole lot more, now being at UCLA, we're still in a camp battle here in early August or mid-August in Knoxville on whether or not it's going to be Merklinger, McIntyre, the freshman who looked really good, but I think he still needs to put on some weight, and Joey Aguilar. So, to me, that's one that's important. You got to hit the ground running right there for Heupel.
Auburn and Baylor, sneaky, isn't it?
I mean, that's fascinating. That's a.
Oh, we lost his audio. Can you hear me? I don't know. We lost your audio. I see your lips moving. I don't know what happened.
All right, here we go. I think we got the right button there.
Okay.
All right. When it comes to Auburn and Baylor, I think you're almost going to know the entire season for the Auburn Tigers in the first half of football on that Friday night. Because if they hit the ground running, then it's Jackson Arnold's confident. They got Eric Singleton, the Georgia Tech transfer, who's going to be great. Cam Coleman, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country. But if all of a sudden that thing gets wobbly against Dave Aranda's defense, which Aranda is a defensive mastermind, head coach wise, I don't know if he's there yet, but defensively, and if it doesn't go well, I think there's a lot of doubts that creep in. We'll know Auburn's record. You could text me in the middle of halftime on that Friday night, Auburn Baylor, and I will give you Auburn's record. And I guarantee you I'll get it within a game.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's a challenge. I like challenges. All right, PB, it's October the 1st. My surprise team in the SEC is
October the 1st.
Yeah, right. I know it's hard. You got to go through the schedules, but somebody that you feel good about.
I'm looking at it at that point. If I had to say a surprise team, right? I think the surprise team at that point, if I'm looking at it, is going to be Texas A&M, who's not getting enough credit at this point. You face UTSA to start. You got Utah State. You should be 2-0. Then you go to Notre Dame, and the amount of talent that Notre Dame lost last year to the NFL draft. I know Jeremiah Love's going to be back, but to me, you win that game, all of a sudden you're talking about an A&M squad that doesn't feel like it's going to be 8-4. So I can see them about being one of those teams. Remember, we're going back. Had South Carolina not beat A&M last year, I mean, think about all of that chaos of A&M in Texas. I mean, A&M was right in the mix in year one under Mike Elko, and they had their opportunity against Texas and they let it slide, but they only got better. And I think Marcel Reed will have some success come up this season.
Wow, I mean, all the quarterbacks in this league, it's crazy. All right, it's November 1st. Your SEC disappointment.
I mean, this is crazy to say.
Pushing buttons today, man.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess one, because now you're talking about disappointment, is somebody within probably the top half of the league or top 5 of the league that just questionable. To me, it's Georgia. Like and the reason why I say that is not because Kirby can't recruit. Hell, he always recruits really well. I just don't know what they have in Gunnar Stockton. And I understand Gunnar worked when Carson went out because it was kind of the rah-rah. It was almost the adrenaline of it. But is he the guy going forward? I don't know. I didn't come away from SEC media days like I when I talk to Lenore Sellers, I'm sitting there with Lenore, so I'm like, dude, this guy is a leader. Like I get it now. I understand it. It makes perfect sense. I didn't get that same feeling with Gunnar Stockton. And that doesn't mean he can't play. It's just there's certain guys that command a room. I didn't get that feeling for Gunnar Stockton. I want to see how he comes along. Now, luckily for them, they played nobody for the first 2 games, and then they'll play a Tennessee team, which I think takes a step back this season. So it might be set up for him to have success. But that's probably the biggest quarterback question mark that I have going forward.
They got that game in Jacksonville on November the 1st as well.
Yep.
If DJ Lagway to that point is healthy, Florida Gators could be having a nice year. I want to ask you just one quick question. We'll get you out of here. It pertains to the college football playoff. One of the things that, well, not one of the things. There's 1,000 things that people talk about every single season when the rankings are released, and it's all very subjective, as we know. I've mentioned this to Mike Morgan plenty of times around here, and you know all the power he has. He's done nothing with it.
Oh boy,
you've got power, so I'll throw it to you. Just out of curiosity, why not, for transparency reasons, why not release the rankings after the 3rd or 4th week of the season in September? Like
you talking about college football playoff rankings?
Yeah, why not? I mean, why? How could it not be better for the committee to have a trail, almost a paper trail, if you will, to be able to prove week in and week out, these are the things that matter to us. And then we don't get to November as fans and see these rankings and go, well, I thought for the last 2 months this was important. Apparently it's not. Why not just back it up and let's see them?
I think if you're talking about transparency, the thing that I would do is I would release the votes. Right? Like I would release how everybody voted. Like if we got to do that for members of Congress and our bills, can we do that for college football playoff rankings? Why not? You know, like because I don't like I want to know what everybody saw and you know and what they think. As far as regarding the timing, whether it's week 3, I think you probably need to have a quarter of the season, right? Before you can actually put those things up. So if you moved it 1 or 2 weeks prior, fine. I have no issue with it. But again, it's just such an inexact science, you know, right now that I think that's the frustration from Greg Sankey and the rest of the league is all the coaches are like, we just don't know what everybody wants right now. Do you want us to have a better record? Okay, well, that's the case. LSU won't play Clemson in an opener. They'll play McNeese State. Or do you value strength of conference or strength of schedule? Well, the SEC probably has a tougher strength of schedule than anybody else in the country. So I think the frustration with coaches lies right now is they don't know how to build it. And the thing is about the college football playoff, they purposely are vague. They take the easy way out every single year, right? Because last year it was easy for them to take SMU over South Carolina because they could say, well, South Carolina did this to Ole Miss and Ole Miss did this to Alabama and all of this. They could play this kind of Russian roulette on it. So the committee will always take the easiest way out. You know, it just gives us something to talk about, and I don't hate it either.
And Shane Beamer has said 1,000 times, hey, apples aren't apples in this thing here. Look at what we schedule. Look at what they schedule. If y'all want to change and go to 9 games and stuff, fine. But you don't get to play 3 cupcakes, and then we have to play Clemson.
Go look at
North
Indiana.
Carolina.
Indiana plays like Indiana State, Kennesaw State, and like the Amish School of Technology. And then they play 2 quote unquote tough Big Ten teams. They could go 0-2 in those teams, or in those games, go 10-2, and be a college football playoff team.
Is that program located in Pennsylvania? Just out of curiosity.
Good. The Amish school, I would think so. Yeah, you would think. Amish Tech. Yes, I think Amish Tech is over in Pennsylvania. Quaker
the mighty
world.
The mighty Quakers. All right, man. I think we're supposed to do 15 or 20 minutes, and we've once again done like 25. I do this to Beamer every time. Yeah, 20 minutes, and then it's like a half hour later.
It happens.
Dude, really appreciate it. Hey, thanks for what you do for college football. College athletics, really, it's always on TV in my office and in the movie room and in the living room and on the back porch. So my kids are exposed to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we really do appreciate all of your hard work, and it's a lot of fun to follow y'all, and we'd love to have you back.
Beats working for a living. We'll say that. So
Yeah.
we'll have a blast, and then let's catch up in the middle of the season for sure.
Yeah, next time you make your way, we have people everywhere. I'm actually in the Low Country, sometimes in Columbia, but down here. Next time you come down, play some golf.
I'm all in for that. Trust me. I've never met a tee time that I did not like.
Yeah, me neither. We're good. Thank you, man. We'll see you soon. Thanks, brother.